This 90-second summary sponsor special is provided to you by Main Street Insider.
We are thrilled to be here today with Congressman John Garamendi from California's 10th District. Thank you for being here.
Delighted to be with you.
Thank you very much. So let's start with a quick description of what you have in mind for the Make It in America agenda.
Well, America used to be the center of manufacturing for the world. It gave us enormous economic strength. It created the middle class in America. But in the last decade, we've lost 54,000 manufacturing facilities in America, and millions of jobs are gone. Now, if American families are going to make it, we must once again make it in America. And so our agenda is to do just that, to align the federal policies so that the manufacturing base in America can once again prosper and grow. One way to do that is to make sure that our tax money is used to buy American-made equipment. Our gasoline tax ought to be used to buy American-made concrete and steel for the roads and bridges. It ought to be used to buy American-made buses and trains and light rail systems. But that doesn't happen now. So my legislation will say that's the way it's going to be. American taxpayer money is going to be used to buy American-made equipment so that America can make it once again.
So do you know what, what's the breakdown in terms of in the transportation industry, which is where your bill that we've covered, HR 613, focuses?
Well, what we've seen in the previous decades, particularly in the Republican administration, was just ignoring the Buy America laws. There were loopholes wider than a 12-lane freeway. So what we have to do is to tighten the law, make it very clear that Buy America means exactly that we're going to use our taxpayer money. Every 18.5 cents, when you fill up a gallon of gas, that money goes into the transportation fund. Now, if you have a diesel, it's 24.5 cents. That goes into the transportation fund. What's it used for? To buy Korean cement? To buy buses that are made in Belgium or China? No more. No more. If this bill becomes law, your taxpayer money is going to be used to buy American-made equipment. What does that mean? That means American jobs. That means middle-class families will be able to have a job and have an income that they can live on. We know that the manufacturing sector is where the middle class prospers. I'll give you an example. In California, there's a bus manufacturer called Gillig. Been there for over 120 years. I guess they once manufactured carriages. But now they manufacture buses, really good buses. We're talking hybrid buses, super efficient buses, natural gas powered buses. In their district, where they're located, a transit district, Alameda Contra Costa Transit District, refused to buy buses that were made in their own district. For some reason, they got in a fight between the two CEOs. Bad policy. That district is using their taxpayer money, their fare box, and the federal money to buy buses that were made in Belgium. My law says no more of that. We're going to buy American-made buses. Maybe there'll be Gillig buses. Maybe there'll be buses built someplace else in America. But there will be American jobs. That's what we need to do. Similarly, on the high-speed rail, $12 billion was made available as part of the stimulus program. Wisely, one sentence was added to that particular section. That sentence said, all of this money must be used to buy American-made equipment. So if we're going to have a high-speed rail that uses any of that money, it's going to be American-made. What happened? All of the high-speed rail companies from all over the world, Siemens, the Chinese company, Alstom from France, the Spanish company, all of them began locating manufacturing plants here in America so that they could compete to manufacture the train sets. Now, yes, the company may be owned by somebody in France or China, but the jobs are here. This isn't a new policy. This is precisely what China has done. Said, welcome to China. Bring your technology. We want to buy your equipment. but you're going to make it here, in China. We're saying the same thing. You want to sell in America, then you build it in America.
So you're saying it's about leveling the playing field?
It's about creating American jobs. It's about using the federal policy to level the playing field. It's about using federal laws to make sure that we no longer give it away, as we have with many of the trade deals. You take a look at the free trade laws, those basically have been free to export American jobs. No more of that. Different subject matter, but nonetheless part of the Make It in America agenda. Fair trade laws. Use our tax money to buy American-made equipment. And it's not just the transportation sector. We have a similar bill that says on the green energy, solar, wind, hey, again, you're using our tax money. Use that tax money to buy American-made equipment.
Okay, and that's HR 487?
That's correct. And I'll give you an example of how this works. In my district, we have wind turbine farms. We have some of the biggest wind farms in America. I was out there touring them one day, and 400-foot tower, blades that are as wide as a football field is long. Huge piece of equipment, all kinds of electronics. Wow, where's this thing made? Oh, wow, the tower is coming from Korea, the blades are from Europe, the electronics from China. And I'm going, anything from America? Well, we use American employees to put the tower up. And I'm going, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. This thing must be made in America.
So a lot of the critics of this type of provision, like the Chamber of Commerce and many Republicans, say that this is not just unproductive but counterproductive, distorting the market and raising prices and encouraging trade wars. What would you say to that?
Baloney. I would say they're un-American. I would say that's the least patriotic thing that any organization could say. And what the Chamber of Commerce is doing is basically kowtowing to the mighty international corporations. They call them multinational corporations. Those are not American companies. Those are international companies who have little, if any, patriotism for America. And the Chamber of Commerce is simply selling their message. That's the message of exporting jobs. That's the message of giving away America's strength. And I'm telling the Chamber, if that's what you want to do, then you go offshore too. We're talking about America. We're talking about rebuilding this nation's strength. We're talking about manufacturing. We're talking about making it in America so American families can make it, so that they can have a decent living, so that we don't have to just flip burgers or be unemployed. We're going to once again be the great manufacturing center of the world because this Democratic Party is determined to put in place the policies, tax policies. My God, there was a tax policy here for the last 20 years that rewarded these international corporations with a tax break every time they offshored an American job. Well, that's over. Not one single Republican voted to end that tax break. They literally voted to continue to give corporations a tax break to offshore jobs. This is important. This is important policy, tax policy. It's how we use our tax money. Do we use our tax money to buy locally or use our money to buy foreign products? It's about trade. It's about fair trade in which we don't give away our manufacturing jobs. 54,000 manufacturing companies disappeared in America in the last 10 years. We can't let that continue. And over 2.5 million manufacturing jobs went with those companies. We need to change our policies.
It sounds like a policy that will move this country forward. That's clearly what you're saying. Now, let's say Congress passes this thing. We know that the Chamber and a lot of other forces tend to work behind the scenes to stop these things, even at the administrative level. So what enforceability mechanisms will there be?
Well, for the specific bill that we're talking about here, dealing with the use of our gasoline tax money to buy American-made equipment, steel for bridges, concrete, or buses, trains, and the like, It's very simple. When the contractor gets the contract, he has to show that it's an American-made bus. If it's the transit district in your city, they can only get the money if it's an American-made bus. If it's a contractor putting together a bridge, where's the steel coming from? Those are very easy things to audit. And so you audit it. If you don't obey the law, you don't get paid. Pretty simple stuff. Some of it's more difficult, the tax issues, which are not the specific subject of this bill, that requires auditors. And so you may be curious why it is that the Republicans voted to take some $600 million out of the IRS budget, the Internal Revenue Service. They don't want these multinational companies audited. So they yank the money out so that the IRS does not have the auditors to go after the scufflaws. And who are the scufflaws? How about General Electric? General Electric exported million American jobs, paid no American taxes. They paid taxes overseas, didn't pay taxes in America. They call themselves an American company. Baloney, they're an international company. They're not patriots. They're exactly the opposite.
So, given that there are also some challenges to getting this bill passed in the first place, namely the Republican majority in the House, how do you plan on going about advocating this proposal going forward?
Well, that's what politics is all about. Politics is about persuading the public that we ought to do one thing or another. I know that when I'm in my district and I talk about making it in America, I'll get Democrats standing up and cheering, some of whom are union members that think they may be able to get back to work. I can get Republican businessmen stand up and cheering, and I can get Tea Party people putting down their signs and clapping their hands. That's the right policy. So we need to talk about making it in America and the policies that are necessary to do it. One of which is my bill. There are about 27 other policies that us Democrats have put together that deal with various pieces of this. Tax policy, international tax policy, policy on labor agreements, educational programs, how you prepare the workforce, and a whole series of things on research, getting that research out, patent protection, all of those come together with a comprehensive Make It in America policy. So we talk about it. We use everything, including your TV camera here, to get the message out. And we'll do things like, we'll even go on Fox News and tell them the truth, fair and balanced.
Okay, is there anything else you would like to add?
I think we've covered it.
Great. Thank you very much, Congressman John Garamendi.
My pleasure. Thank you.
For more information on this and other bills in front of Congress, go to mainstreetinsider.org.